Welcome back. This is Defender Fabrication. My name's Scott, and this is shop update number 12, March 31st, 2018. A few things to go over here first. Progress of work. You probably noticed you haven't seen a video yet for the old school cool project. That'll be out here in a couple of days. Trying to balance current work with trying to get more work, as we kind of discussed in the last shop update. I do have on the 73 Duster project. I don't know if we mentioned it in the last update or not, but the guy opted. We've got a little more extensive work on that. We sold the guy a Dana 60, so not only are we going to do the spring narrowing for that car, but we're also going to put a brand new Strange Engineering Dana 60 underneath of it. That's on order. Should be about a week and a half out at this stage of the game. This time of year's bad. There was a 4-week lead on that to begin with. So that car is effectively done in every other respect. The cage is done, with the exception of 2 bars that I'm going to actually pass through underneath. So once we get it up on the lift to do the spring relocation in the Dana, we're going to put those bars in, weld them underneath. But here's some pictures you can look at while I'm running my lips of the completed cage and the mini tub, the relocation of the wheel wells into the frame. The owner was here yesterday and took a look at the cage and is happy with everything we've done. You'll notice in the pictures that the rear bars pass through the rear deck through the old speaker holes, and that was by his request. The back seat will go back in this car. Would have been easier to do another way, but that's what he wanted, so that's what we did for him. And in addition, you might note that everything to the front also clears. The visors are still functional. The rear view mirror is still functional. The door bars are moved inboard enough that they clear so that you can roll the windows up and down. And you know, unlike a race car, that is, you know, all that stuff has been accommodated. What else? Secret Service. We got a visit here at the shop from the Secret Service of the USA. Let me set this up for you, and I'll show you. I'll insert another video. This was about a week ago, I guess. I got a phone call early in the morning, and it was from a I don't know what it said, restricted number or something like that. And so I didn't answer it. And it was the shop phone, but I've only got one phone number. I carry a cell phone. That's the phone number I use for the business. It's, you know, it's all one. You know, I don't have a home phone and a shop phone and a cell phone and all that. Just, I got one number. So later in the day, I got a call, and once again it said restricted number. So I got interested, and I picked up the phone, and the guy introduced himself as Agent Lipscomb of the Secret Service. Wanted to know if I could talk to him, and I said, well, sure. And I said, what's it about? And he said, well, I can't tell you over the phone, but I'd like to come out to your shop. So he knew I had a shop. Anyway, I said, yeah, sure, come on out. So I figured, well, you know, the guy's not here to arrest me, or they probably wouldn't announce that they were coming. But you never know, I guess. But so anyway, the guy shows up like 45 minutes, an hour later, and I was prepared because, you know, really there's no phone number. I don't really, you know, anybody could call and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. So I had the GoPro set up just like I'm filming this right now. I had it set up on the tripod. When the guy showed up, and I didn't let him in the shop. I just carried the GoPro out right outside and turned it right on and started filming. So let me insert this here and let you take a look at it. You care if I record this? Well, I'd like to.
And why is that?
I'm not going to answer that question. Credentials? Have you got a business card or anything?
I do not have one with me.
Okay. And are you the one talking on the phone?
You are. Or I am.
And your name was again?
It's Agent Lipscomb.
Agent Lipscomb and Steve Riley.
Step over. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. We're good. So, yeah, we just want to talk to you for a moment.
Okay.
So, all right. Thanks for your time.
Okay, so the guy never did tell me what it was here about. When they walked off camera, they just whispered in each other's ear, these two guys, and then turned around and you heard the rest. I'm not sure why the guys are here. I'd be interested in, I still don't know for sure. I guess I could probably call the Secret Service, somehow find out if there's an Agent Lipscomb working in this area or what that's about. But I'd be interested in you guys. I've had some buddies that speculated, that it was something else that was fishy and it wasn't really the Secret Service, or, because the secrets, I don't know why you'd pick out the Secret Service to impersonate, because they only protect the president and counterfeit money. Those are the only two things. Anyway, I don't know, but I'd be interested in knowing what you guys think about it. So hey, listen, if you got an idea, some thoughts or whatever, put them down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I want to show you one other thing. It has to do with something a product I'm trying to develop. Let me move the camera and we'll take a look at that. This is a piece that I have designed. The idea being, if you're watching because of the whole drag racing side of what my channel's about, then what this is a bracket to mount a delay box. So if you're racing an electronics class and you're able to use a trans brake and a delay box, something that I've noticed is that purpose-built race cars typically have something built in when they build the car that's welded to the chassis that allows you to to mount your delay box. But let's say you take a car like this 73 Duster right behind me, or the old school cool 68 Camaro, and you want to put a delay box in it. You've got stock floor pans and all that. Then you've got to fabricate something to mount your delay box. So my thought is there's a place in the market for a product to make that easy. And so what I've done here is I've made this bracket, and this is one plate, and actually I'm in the process of developing a universal plate. I'll actually have two of these. There is one style of delay box made by K&R called a Pro Cube that is very small, that a flat piece here will not facilitate it. So what I'm going to do is make a plate that has tabs. It'll be shipped flat, but when you get it, you can bend these tabs over and it'll provide a place for a K&R Pro Cube to be mounted on this. And the idea here is that you have full adjustability. You'll mount this thing to the floor pan of your car or the transmission tunnel, something of that nature. Simply 4 bolts. It'll mount to the side, and then you'll be able to adjust this. Of course, if you want this back further, you can where you mount this will depend upon that. You've got a telescoping feature here, and you have a similar bracket up here, but then this plate will have these slots in it so that you can pivot this. So if you want to tilt the face or whatever, then you'll be able to do that as well. And I actually designed this several years ago, and where I got stuck was in the manufacturing, how this sliding tube-in tube was going to be done. And in this particular prototype, what I did was I welded a small piece of tube and then took it on the mill and then slit this, and then you just put a bolt in here to clamp that down. And while this works well, this is fairly intensive to the manufacturing. The rest of this stuff is you can slam together in minutes. This is something that would take a lot more time. So that being said, what I found finally, and I know some of my viewers are overseas, but this is made in China, and basically this is like a bicycle seat clamp, where the tube for your bicycle seat, where it's mounted, slides up and down the main stem of the frame. Now typically those clamps are a deal like this, where they've got a slit in it and they just crimp the whole thing. Now what this does is it's got a different diameter here than it does here. But the reason I like that is because I can slide it, without doing anything to the end of this tube other than cutting it off and maybe deburring it. I can slide this over it, and then this tube will then slide through, and then this can be permanently clamped, while this one has a knob, and then so when this thing can be adjusted to where you want it, and you can adjust it on the fly with this knob. But the reason I'm showing you this, and the reason I wanted to talk about this, is I bought this from what they call the Chinese Amazon, and it is a website called I'm going to call it YoyCart, YOY-CART.com, and you can buy direct from Chinese manufacturers rather than dealing with a middleman or somebody that imports this stuff. Now, I bought 12 of these, and they have quantity discounts, and I think I paid $3.50 a piece, something around that for each of these. Now, for this clamp, for something made in the United States, you're looking at over 20 bucks. So, you know, something that's 50% more or even double the cost, you know, I would just go ahead and go with something made in USA. But with a difference in price, I wanted to take a look at these. Now, I was surprised at the quality. They actually, I mean, there are some problems, and we'll get into that. But, you know, these things don't look too bad. I mean, you know, this is not something that somebody, you know, whittled out with a knife or something. I mean, I would say it's a die-cast part. But it doesn't look bad. Now, one thing, you know, the problem is this is all metric, and these tubes are, I think, 3/4 and 5/8 tube. And by the way, this is stainless, so that you don't have to paint this tube. You could paint it from here up, and you can paint all of this. But where this would slide up and down, the paint would get scratched. I made this is out of stainless. But this screw, they put a lock washer, but the threads don't penetrate the nylon washer of the nylock. So, you know, I don't know what. I guess, you know, I'll have to change that bolt out. That, and in addition, because this is metric, and I'm thinking 19 millimeters here and 17 millimeters here, but that works out to being pretty close. I think the 19 millimeters is where that should have been like 0.748 inches. And my thought was that they probably would allow a little bit of, you know, because it does clamp, they probably would allow a little bit. But in fact, this ends up miking out at 0.742. So this won't slide over a piece of 3/4 tube. So that means that I'm going to have to do secondary work to this part if I continue to buy this. And I'm not sure it's not worth it. I don't probably would be done on a lathe, but my lathe's not up and running. But it would be as simple as chucking up a piece of this stainless tube and then putting this on it, clamping it down, and then running a boring bar down through there, and you know, you're done. So it would be fairly simple. But anyway, hey, let me know what you think of this setup. This is actually too tall. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this one down, and I'm going to give it to a buddy of mine. He's going to go ahead and throw it in his car, and we're going to try this. We're going to try this setup out, because there's been some discussion about how flexible it would be. Which, you know, if this thing was put together like this, and you had a big old honking delay box hanging off this thing, you know, it is going to flex a good bit. But most cars, you know, you don't need that delay box to be more than about 12 inches off the floor. So we're going to cut this down. I'm going to get a clamp set up so that it works. He's going to bolt in his car. We're going to try it out. And if everything works out, then I think I'm going to offer, I got 12 of these, so I'm going to offer like a pre-production run of 10 units just to see what kind of interest there is. And if there's enough interest, if, you know, I get, you know, 50 people that want them and not just 10, then I may go ahead and put them up for sale. And this may be the time to, you know, put a website together and offer, you know, this and some other things up for sale so that people can order direct. So anyway, hey, listen, that's what I wanted to show you this week. I know I got a little long-winded, but listen, I appreciate you sticking around, staying till the end. So listen, if you're liking the shop updates, thumbs up. If you've got comments, let me know. If you've got ideas where if you look at this and say, hey, listen, you know, here's what you're missing if you just do this. Hey, listen, I sure would appreciate it. Anything constructive is always welcome. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And I'll see you on the next shop update. Thanks for watching.